Hello and welcome back to Tucking It Up. My name is Tuck, and as you can see, I like playing around with makeup. So the look I did today is, I guess, part of my quote-unquote remaking faces series. It sounds so pretentious, but anyway, the idea is, I take like looks that I like from different makeup artists, and I attempt to recreate them and adapt them. Today's look is based on something that I saw on Instagram from Malvina Isfan. She does. I really love the way she does makeup, and I saw this and I thought, you know what, this is such an interesting sort of effect where you have, that really strong, like black wing, very graphic, quite heavy, but then somehow, even though I'm adding like more stuff on top of it, right, in terms of like this wing on top, because I guess it's a lighter shade, there's a bit of a gradient going on, it doesn't end up feeling like too heavy. So if you'd like to see how I did this look, please be sure to stay tuned. Let me pop up the picture again. As you can see, it's quite a graphic look, right? It has this nice defined, really sharp wing, and it's kind of a double wing. You have the black, and then you also have on top of it this sort of blue gradient, right? So I'm gonna more or less follow this pretty closely, I would say, right? So I'm going to keep how sharp everything is. I'm going to try and keep that elongation of the wing. I'm going to keep that double wing. That's kind of the signature feature of this look. But instead of blue, because I've done a lot of sort of like blue, purple looks recently, I'm going to do a warm brown for that second sort of gradient wing. And the brown is actually going to graduate into, I'm thinking like a gold/green sort of color story. To start off the look, I'm actually not going to start with my base as usual, but I'm going to actually just start by just sketching out where the wing is going to be. As any of you who've seen any of my previous videos might know, sometimes I do have trouble getting, like if I do a wing element, right, getting the two sides completely symmetrical because my eyes are slightly, my eye shape is slightly different, and then if you look at the bone structure, it's slightly different between the two sides. So anyway, so I'm anticipating that, instead of correcting later on, maybe it's best if I kind of do everything now, and then I can more easily correct the shape, and then after that I'll just go in with my base, and then can proceed with the eye once that's done. To create the shape today, I'm going to use Blackout from Danessa Myricks. It's one of her Colorfix mats. You could also use any sort of like gel eyeliner or any liquid product. I want the black to be somewhat visible when I'm looking straight on as well, so it's not just the wing, right, but you can also see kind of the basic outline of the shape even when I have my eyes fully open. And then just to refine everything after establishing the shape, I'm going to use a Q-tip with some micellar water on it and just like sort of use that to sharpen the lines. Now that the shape is just established, I'm going to do my base off camera. Today I wanted a bit more coverage, so I'm going to use what is this? Maybelline, is it Maybelline? It is Maybelline. Fit Me Poreless Foundation. I'm in the shade 130, and then I'm just going to set that with the Patrick Star One Size setting powder and translucent, and do my contour, bronzer, blush, highlighter, with the Kevyn Aucoin contour book. So I'll see you back here in just a second. Okay, so I'm back. As you can see, I've done my base. I also did my brows. Couple of things I forgot to mention earlier. I did use concealer. I used the same tip concealer in the shades 1.5 to highlight and then also spot conceal. And for blush today, instead of using the blush that comes with the contour book palette, I used Ballet Slippers from Danessa Myricks Vision Flush line. I just want kind of a more peachy look to go with the eye. I think those two will play together quite well. And I think that's it. So let me zoom you in and we can get started or finish up the eye look. Let's go ahead and finish sketching out the shape. Taking an angled liner brush again, I'm just going to reinforce the lines that I placed down earlier, and then also extend so that it kind of goes and makes a little bit of a cat eye shape. I don't want it to be too strong in the inner corner, so I don't extend it too much, and I don't make that line very thick. Now that the shape has been established, let's go ahead and fill it in, just using a flat shader brush, and I'm just gonna pat Blackout in thin layers. As you see, so when I work with Colorfix, I find for me it's best if I go slowly and I go in sort of like light layers. And so that's what I'm doing here. And you just want to build it up to the opacity that you need. Don't worry too much about being like super neat at this point. As you can see, it's not completely perfect, right? There's still some areas of patchiness, but that's okay, because we are going to, I need to actually set this with black eyeshadow, so that will just cover up any unevenness, help everything last longer, and then after that we can really go in and clean up the lines, clean up the edges. You can use any black eyeshadow to set this. I'm just going to use Fornax from Linda Hallberg's Infinity Deep palette. I find this to be a good sort of when I've used it in the past, it's kind of gotten out of hand, right, when I try to blend it out. But because it's so pigmented, it's great for this sort of application. So just make sure to go slowly. Be careful about not getting any fallout, if you've done your base like I have, and just pat, pat, pat over where we put the blackout earlier. Okay, so now as you can see, the coverage is much more opaque, it's much more even, and the shape actually is not too far off between the two sides, which is good. So before we get into kind of the wing on top and the gradient, let's go ahead and just clean up the shape a little bit with Q-tip and some micellar water. Alright, so that's pretty good then. Yeah, looks pretty even. The lines are pretty sharp. Yeah, not bad for government work, as they say. So before we go on to the gradient, the double wing, what I'm going to do is actually just tightline my top lash line, and I'm going to use the Permagel Extreme Black Pencil from McGrath. Let's start on the that sort of top wing, and like I mentioned, I'm going to go with brown shades today, and to act as the base at the outer edges of the wing, I'm going to use the shade Burnt Sienna from NYX. It's kind of this burgundy sort of brown shade. As you can see, I want to kind of go straight from where the tip of the wing is, and after establishing a base, I'm just going to blend it out with a pencil brush. Before I set it with eyeshadow, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my MAC paint pot in, soft ochre, and I'm just going to use that to sort of like cut out the shape, define the sort of the inner half a little bit more. In addition to giving me a clean canvas when I put my eyeshadow down later, the paint pot also outlines just like how far I want to go. Alright, so we're in the home stretch for the eyes. So now that the paint pot has had some time to set, I'm going to take a warm brown shadow. In this case, it's going to be Major Mahogany from the Mothership Mega Celestial Divinity palette from McGrath. So the mahogany shade is going to go over the outside corners, and then for the inside, I'm going to use another shade from that palette. It's going to be Dragonfly, which is a green, gold, warmish sort of shade. It has a little bit of a teal, I think, shift to it, so it'll, from some angles, it'll add a little bit more interest, but basically it's, keeping in with the warm theme that's going on. I'm applying Major Mahogany with a pencil brush, and then I kind of decided I wanted a bit more of a transition, so I'm going to take Umbra and Lightyear from the Infinity Deep palette and just apply it right at the edges of the brown. To apply Dragonfly, I'm going to use an even smaller pencil brush, and I want to be quite precise here and just put it over the parts where I had laid down the paint pot earlier, and then I'm going to blend it into the brown, but as you can see, it remains very distinct from the black wing. Alright, I think that's the eye done then. So let's move on to the lips, and I want to keep it warm today, not as dark as I usually go, but kind of on the darker side still, because that's what I like. And so I'm going to line with a brown pencil from Sephora, fill in with Flesh 3 from McGrath, which is this sort of browny, sort of rosy shade, and then top that off with the Bronze Temptation gloss, also from McGrath. The bronze glitters, will play nicely with the Flesh 3 color. Alright, this is the final look then, and as usual, let me give you a tour. am quite happy actually with how this look turned out. I do keep looking at myself in the monitor and in the mirror because I almost, you know, what it's doing to my eyes is it's taking me some getting used to. But I do, like I said, I'm really happy with how clean it came out. I like the colors. I'm glad I, you know, decided to like take a bit of a departure, you know, from the original look and make it warmer and also incorporate a little bit of shimmer slash metallic. Maybe I said this before on the channel, but I'm really happy that I ended up getting the Celestial Divinity palette. I used to be, when I first saw it, I was really against it because I thought it looked like a mess. But because it has so many different colors and finishes and all of that in it, it's such a versatile palette that I don't even remember how many times I've used it, not just on this channel, but just when I'm playing around off camera. So thank you so much for joining me. You know, if you like content like this, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all of that sort of stuff. In the future, what I have planned is, I think I'm going to go back to Persona 5 and, you know, maybe do a couple more looks based on the characters there, because they each have actually really quite distinct styles, and a lot of it is centered around the eyes because they wear masks, and so their eyes, you know, they tend to have like quite distinct shapes. So I think that'll be fun to play with. But anyway, until next time, missed call. Anyway, but until next time, bye!